Good day, this is Dr. Robert Morse, and this is an audio iris analysis for an Emily, and spell the last name Vargas. And this just turned 17. How cool is that, Emily? How cool is that? This is 12:30 at night, and it just turned 17. That's got to be symbolic of something. 3 7s and 2 1s. Anyway, thanks for coming to the class, sweetheart. Really was fun. Appreciate you guys so much. You're great. Every one of you. Super great. Well, I'm plowing through the eyes, so sorry to take so long, but plowing through them. Audio takes a lot longer. All right, sweetheart, let's get to it. Obviously, eye color is blue. Now, I just did a video on the 4 stages of, I guess, health to disease, health to death, all these different levels: acute, subacute, chronic, and degenerative. Important to kind of look at these 4 stages when you're working with people and see where they're at, and kind of looking at that, particularly the lymphatic systems, where it's really cool that you can see the lymphatic system. No other system. So let's just say that you came with a perfect eye. There was no mother intervention whatsoever, which is impossible. Your lymph system is your mother's lymph system, plain and simple. However, if you started out with a clean eye, your mother was an acid-forming food eater, and her milk would then become acidic, and she was nursing or breastfeeding, you would start filling up full of mucus. Get colicky symptoms and mucus, a little cold and flu-like symptoms. These are acute manifestations that are being created by the types of food we eat that the body doesn't want, and a mucus is being formed. This creates low-level inflammation in the beginning stages of the whole thing. So in a blue eye, acute levels of stagnation of lymph, which you can apply the same thing, turns a blue eye white. And look at your eye. White. You have a lot of acute lymphatic stagnation. Now, if we don't get rid of that and we keep pushing it deeper, we get subacute. And notice you have a little yellowing of that in places. And that is, it's moving towards subacute levels, which turns a blue eye yellow and a brown eye. All brown eyes are light brown mostly, and then shades of brown darker as we move through these 4 stages. Chronic in a blue eye turns a blue eye brown and a brown eye real dark brown. And then any degenerative areas, of course, are black hole through the trabecula. So you can see how much white that you have in your body. A lot of lymph stagnation, particularly more on the left side, it looks like, but pretty backed up both sides. So iris color is blue. Pupils are okay. I would expect him a little bigger, but you look like you're wearing contacts. Now, constitution. When you're talking about the constitution of the body, we're talking about the cells now. When we talk about the lymph system, there are cells involved, because there's pipes and there's kidneys and there's skin and all this, adrenals. But we always refer it basically as a fluid-based system. When we're talking about constitution, we're talking about the strengths or weaknesses of the cell genetically. And IW strong. You got strong genes. Really love them. Great genes. A lot of lymph stagnation. You got your weaknesses here and there, but you have really strong genes. So I really like that. The skin is not strong. So you have your weaknesses here and there, but for the most part, good, strong genes. The eye isn't a world for chemistry, but I have this, and simply because you can see drug deposits as there are clouds over the landscape. But particularly sulfur is orange, very prevalent. See in a blue eye, in a brown eye, harder. And then iodine is a reddish-brown color. Malabsorption. You do have a malabsorption ring. And the reason is, if you look at your eye, you're pulled almost to the pupil like a mandala. You have this thick white rope ring around about a ½ inch outside the pupil. All the way around you have this thick white rim. That thick white rim is your lymphatic stagnation in the intestinal walls. And nothing ever good comes of that. You can eat and still get thin. When you're trying to get well, you get thin. IBS, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, all these things appear when acids become deeper and deeper involved in stagnation. So you want to fix malabsorption. You want to get into your lymph system, clean it up, get your eye all blue again. Now looking at your circulatory system, I think it's great. Looking at the heart, yeah. You know what? I think you have an open-end lesion here, and this is the heart area here. There's some lymph stagnation in the heart cells interstitially, and you have an open-end weakness. There is, to me, about a subacute, maybe acute weakness in the heart area. So nothing your body can't repair, but if you ever want to take the heart formula for a month or two, it'd be helpful to strengthen. But just by cleaning your lymphatic system up, that's going to strengthen the heart. If you don't ever, congestive heart failure would be something that you would probably have to deal with because of the lymphatic system there. Now, looking at the digestive system, let's take a minute and think about these another four stages or processes the body goes through to be well. As a food processor, basically, you have to digest. So that's what we want to look at. How do you digest your foods? The second phase, of course, is absorption. If you don't absorb what you digested, why do you digest? So absorption's a big deal. Do you absorb your foods? Well, you have malabsorption rings, so you're not absorbing what you're digesting. Now, what's the third phase? That's utilization, and this is important because a lot of people don't realize that the utilization of most chemistry, like iron and zinc and selenium and manganese, all this requires adrenal steroids. Even sugar metabolism requires adrenal steroids. So the adrenals are key. The endocrine glands are key because the calcium is the only one that requires parathyroid hormone. And these are key. So the glands are key at everything, in every process. But the adrenals in particular, in the utilization, and particularly the parathyroid as well. So what's the fourth phase? Elimination. You have to eliminate not just digestive waste, that's obvious. What about metabolitic cellular activity waste throughout the body? Pounds of metabolitic waste have to be eliminated out of the body. Well, how do you eliminate that? Urinary tract, skin, kidneys, any hole you got sometimes. So important to look at those. Now looking at your digestive system. Gallbladder's in a subacute stage of weakness, as is the liver. So you ought to spend some time with the liver gallbladder formula and strengthen the liver gallbladder up. With that said, when I go to the pancreas next door, it is also in a subacute stage of weakness. So it doesn't hurt to spend some time. Now, these are minor weaknesses for your body to fix, but still, they're weaknesses and they should be strengthened. And so that liver gallbladder formula is excellent for both of those tissues like that. Get your bowels cleaned up. So there is minor weaknesses within the digestive system. Now, looking at the small intestines and looking at the colon, you're above average in your GI tract as well. I mean, these are great eyes to fix and to get healthy. Your GI tract is about a little prolapsing of the transverse, but man, we all have wigglies and twigglies. So really, you're really above average. I put your GI tract in a subacute stage of weakness, a chronic spot here or there, well above average. Stomach, you have little chronic spots here and there in the stomach, but not too bad. Let's get on raw foods and really dig in, man. You're going to have a strong body here. Wonder Woman. Rectally, same thing. You got some subacute weaknesses in the rectal wall as well. Now, There's two nervous systems in the human body. There's the autonomic, which is the worker bee, but the main nervous system, of course, is the brain, the hard drive. The brain, of course, is our physical link to the mind, which is where all consciousness kind of flows through. I mean, the physical brain is what it is. But it's an incredible awareness panel or whatever of the human body and external. So it helps to initiate that fight or flight, because the autonomic, the worker bee, the second nervous system of our body, fits right into the central nervous system at the back of the head, the cerebellum. And of course your optic nerves and all that, sensory nerves all fit into the autonomic, so there is, the ability to fight or flight. So your autonomic nervous system, I do see a little nerve ring here or there, not much. So most of your nervous system's in a subacute stage, I would say, but a little bit of chronic myelin sheath weakness here and there. And that's the adrenal glands, and that's about what you see in your adrenal glands. So you want to strengthen your adrenal glands to strengthen your nervous system. Also upper circumbrain nerve, excellent formulas for everybody. So looking at your central nervous system, looking at the right side of the brain, we have some cerebellum, some chronic cerebellum and midbrain weaknesses there. A little bit of mastoid as well. I think you can say your right ear is some subacute, maybe a little chronic, but some subacute at this point weakness. If you've never candled your ears, candle your ears if you want 3 or 4 candles per ear. Center brain, we're at the animation lifeline. A little bit of subacute weakness there, and maybe frontal lobe, a couple spots, well above average. However, what am I looking at here? I'm looking at a pituitary gland that's not happy. A very chronic pituitary gland. Yep, you want to go after that. Definitely want to get upper circulation and go after that. And there could be a drug deposit there in the pituitary. It's difficult for me to tell. Drug deposit or weakness? Hard to tell. One way it looks like a drug deposit stuck up in the pituitary gland. It's enough to say you want to detox that out, because it could affect how that functions. Also, a little weakness wanting to be in the pineal, but not too bad. Looking at the left brain, just in the midbrain, some chronic weaknesses or so. The cerebellum a little better there, maybe some subacute weaknesses. Mastoid, some subacute weaknesses. Heavy congestion in the ear area on the left side. But still above average. So you want to get up there in upper circumbrain nerve, well above average. Yeah, I think that Yeah, look at that pituitary. You know what? You just have a heavy limb stagnation there. That's all I see. Heavy limb stagnation. Nothing. You're just so well above average everywhere I go. Now, some of your lines are squiggly. Excuse me. 1 o'clock. So think of the thyroid, parathyroid. So we're getting there. So central nervous system, some subacute and chronic weaknesses here and there, not too bad, well above average. Now, brain circulation is good. Endocrine glands, very important to look at these. The adrenal glands. Right adrenal gland is in a subacute, I would call it a subacute stage of weakness. Any weaker would be mildly chronic, I think. And the left adrenal gland about the same. Pituitary just has congestion, not bad. Pineal the same way. Now, I'll say this, the pineal gland on the left side has some minor acute to subacute weaknesses there, so you could be affected in insomnia a little bit. And if the pituitary is involved, it's very minor. So looking at the thyroid gland right side, there is definitely some chronic weaknesses in that thyroid and parathyroid, and also the same in the left thyroid, parathyroid. So there is also some tonsils on the left side and throat on the left side. Also throat on the right side and tonsils on the right side. So throat, tonsils, thyroids all got a little weak all in your genetic line there. So get the lymph moving and strengthen. Make sure that any depression or anything that would link you to parathyroid, make sure that's corrected there. But adrenals. Now, here's one of another big area to think about, and that's your skin. You have a large skin ring all the way around your body, and of course that's your largest eliminative organ, so you're not eliminating, not well. Hope you're sweating. If you're not sweating, get yourself sweating. You need to invigorate the skin. So sweating is excellent, dry skin brushing is excellent, getting the kidneys to filter is excellent, and open up all your channels of detoxification. Third kidney, largest eliminative organ. Remember that, the skin. Thinking thyroid, underarm basals, upper 97s, 98. Now looking at the lymphatic system, like I said, acute, moving to some minor subacute because of the yellowing, but for the most part, you have some lymph nodes swollen in places, not too heavy. The appendix is in a subacute to mildly chronic weak state genetically. And the spleen has maybe one little spot of subacute weakness in it, not bad at all. Now, the female reproductive area. Looking at the right wall of the uterus, we have a subacute weak uteri. Yeah, you have genetics there. Also on the vaginal wall as well. Subacute, I would say, all the way down. So very important to strengthen that wall. Let's look at the left side. Left side the same way. Got vaginal wall weakness. The uterus is not as weak. A little acute weakness there in the uterus, but vaginally. You don't ever want to have vaginal cancer or anything. I definitely would douche one time a night with a Heal-All tea. I made that tea for females to douche with to converting atypical cells, which we converted them all the time with that tea. And I would douche one time a night for 2 weeks with that. And really also get that lymph system moving through my body. That'll move it through ovaries, vaginal walls, uteri, and everything else, if you still have it. But now, looking at the right ovary, I do think there is some chronicness to the right ovary, genetically speaking. I think that's also true. Both ovaries, to me, are genetically weak, if you still have them. They're prone to atrophy, in my opinion, particularly the left. So I don't know if you had the uterus removed or what in that. It's enough to say, though, they want to strengthen you know what. Now, looking at the right breast area, also, you have weaknesses in those tissues as well, but only about acute, maybe some subacute weaknesses here and there in the breast tissue. A lot of lymph stagnation in that area, so be careful with that. The whole chest wall could be stronger. Looking at the left breast area, also I think you're at a acute to subacute weakness in those tissues. Excuse me, please, honey. Woo, I've been talking all day. About to lose it. So clean and strengthen is going to be the word of the day, because those breasts could become fibrocystic. They're weak. Make them strong. Now, looking at the bronchial trunks and lungs, there's 3 lobes on the right lung and 2 lobes on the left. I'll say the lymph nodes are kind of swollen to the lower lobes, but not too much going on. The bronchial trunk, though, you got subacute weaknesses all along the right bronchial trunk into the lungs. On the left side, only into the upper lung. I'd say there's a lymph node swollen in the upper lung, and maybe one spot. Maybe a little subacute weakness in those lungs. But not bad. Just as you detoxify, the lungs should come clean with it. Bronchial trunks probably need a little bronchitis to clean. Now, the urinary tract system, the bladder. We have a subacute weakness in the right wall of the bladder, tending toward chronic. Left wall better, with a little subacute spot, maybe a chronic feed a little bit. So right wall weakness in the bladder. When I look to the right kidney, the whole kidney is weak on the right subacutely. I wouldn't call it chronic, but I'd call it subacute. Borderline, the next stage, of course, is moving into chronic, so get these kidneys invigorated. Left kidney much better. Still got some chronicness to that left kidney, a little bit here or there. But open these up and get them filtering for sure. So bladder and kidneys are weak. We'll strengthen them up. Now to end your iris analysis, my dear one, we want to take a look at your skeletal system. That's a parathyroid. There is evidence of thyroid and parathyroid weakness, so this could be affected. Looking at the right side of the spine, there is throat weakness, as I said earlier, and we have upper neck weakness, subacute to maybe light chronic in the upper C-spine. I would say almost all the way down the C-spine. You get a little better in the lower C's, perhaps, maybe acute more than subacute. But you have little minor weaknesses down the T-spine until we start to enter the lumbar. When we enter the lumbar, we're getting more back into the subacute, and then tailbone's got a lot of inflammation and a weakness down in that area. So really lower back a lot. Also upper neck, about like me, lower back, upper neck. Well, just love it. Yeah, your spine right side, more evidence of throat weakness here, of course. Heavy lymph stagnation in the neck there, heavy. With a, I would say taking in lower C's, upper T's perhaps, a big subacute weakness there. Another one up at the axis. Also mid-back, we're stepping down maybe into an acute level, but a lot of T-spine weakness there as well. And lumbar, not as bad. Maybe some acute weaknesses there, heavy lymph stagnation there. Looking while we're on the left side, let's look at the left leg. Yeah, a little inflammation in the knee, but that left leg is a little weak genetically, more so the lower we go. Groin the same way. And hip, you've got genetics all in that left hip, subacutely mostly, but still there. The shoulder on that side, a little bit of a chronic in one part of it, a little bit, but not too bad. Looking at the left leg is all weak genetically. Your whole right leg is weak genetically, but only about the acute level. Maybe some subacute in the lower legs. More lower legs, funny. Our groin, definitely involved here. Some subacute, I think. Hip is much better than the left one. There's spots here of acute weakness, but not too bad. More the leg and groin. Also the hip, leg and groin on the left side. Right shoulder, just heavy lymph stagnation, maybe a acute spot or two, subacute. But not bad, well above average. Beautiful body, beautiful. Really can be fun to work with and get yourself healthy, get rid of that skin ring, get all the white out of there, get malabsorption gone, perk everything up. You could be Dino Wonder Woman. Genes like this. Thank you, sweetheart. Emily, thank you all for coming. Thank you so much.